What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Roshis, and I am back with another video for you guys today. Alright guys, I just want to say sorry for the quality just because it's a little lower than usual. It took me a little minute because my software was tripping for a little bit, so sorry for the quality in advance. And yeah, let's get back to the video, guys. Now before we get into this bloodline tier list, I do want to say, guys, make sure you drop a like on this video, okay? Let's get to 50 likes. We get more than that on our stream, so hey, let's get to 50 likes tonight. And make sure you guys, if you have not, hit that sub button. Let's get to 2,000 subscribers by April. With that being said, make sure you have my post notifications too, and join my Discord server. The link is in the description. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into this bloodline rankings. All right. Now the first bloodline we have today is the regular Akuma, aka Shangran, the way you can customize. Now, personally, I will put this right in the A tier, not a B, but not quite an S. Perfectly ranked right here in the A tier for me. The reason I put it in the A tier and not higher or lower is because honestly, it's just so many things you can do with this bloodline. It's so unique, nothing like the others. You can literally customize it, man. So hey, there's like not too much to be really said about it though. But I'm gonna put that right there in the good old A tier, right? Now, second we have Go Biakugan. I'm gonna put this in the A tier. The reason it doesn't go in the S tier for me is because personally I don't see it as an S ranked, but I do see it up there in the A rank, and it's no lower than A. Okay, maybe like A plus. Okay. Now Ashton Storm. Okay, I see this as an A tier as well. The damage is pretty good. Not good enough to go in the S tier because the tracking on it is a little bit annoying. It can miss a lot sometimes, but the damage is pretty good if you know what you're doing. So that is an A tier for me. Alright. Next up we have Azarashi, aka Uzumaki. Pretty average bloodline. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. Okay, it's usable. Okay, if you spun it, I wouldn't recommend spinning it right away. Try to find a use for it if you have it and don't want to spin it. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to Azim Senko. Now I see this as an A tier. It's on par with these four, or the three other bloodline right here. I would say if you have it, do not spin it away. It is pretty rare as well, but the damage is good, the mode is good, the speed boost is definitely good. So hey, make sure you keep that, guys. Now next we have Bangkai, aka Hitachi Shangran. This is going to be the very first S tier on this list, man. There is so much that you can do with this bloodline. Honestly, the damage is insane. The models are cool about it. Like, what is there not to like about this? Next up we have Black Sock. I'm gonna throw this between D and C, like a D plus. The damage is decent, but other than that, there's no reason to use that. Now for Bolt, I will put this right there in the B tier. It's pretty good for combo standers and combo starters. But other than that, I don't see much use for it. The damage is pretty decent though. Now for Bubble, I will throw this right smack dab in the B tier. Okay, it's not quite an A tier because it's not on the level of these, but it is better than things you'll see later in the C tier. So I would put this in the B tier. It's decent because you can get people stuck in it and hit them with some combos. So hey, them vicious combos can very much start with Bubble. Okay, now Explosion, I mean, like, the damage is pretty decent, pretty good with it, but I don't see it being on the same level as a B tier. Maybe a C plus, because it might be better than Azarashi, so maybe a C plus. Crystal, of course, an F. Dangon, I'm gonna throw this between B and C as well. Pretty decent. I don't see much use for it though. The damage is pretty good. That last move, sniper shot, that's a pretty good move. I can't lie, that's a pretty good move. So I wouldn't say it's on the same, like, I don't know where to put this because it's not bad by any means. It's actually pretty good. If you had this, I would recommend using it. I'm gonna say this is a C plus. Like, I could put it in the middle, I would, but I'm gonna throw this into the C tier. Okay, no, B tier, a lower B, like a B minus, maybe, like I said, a C plus possibly, but I'll put this right there in the B tier. Okay. Now Dio Senko, S tier, of course. It's one of the best bloodline in the game. If you get this, I would not recommend spinning it because it is one of the best in the game. Now we have Explosion, pretty bad, not gonna lie. Not much to be said about that. It's pretty trash. Force Akuma, like an A+ for me. Doesn't quite reach the S tier like these two does, but it's pretty good. You can argue that's an S tier, definitely not B and below, of course. The moves are pretty good. The genjutsus, not genjutsu, but the kamui attacks, they're pretty good. I cannot lie. The Susanoo looks very cool as well. That's just a plus to it. And the mode, the stats are pretty good too. So I'll put that right there in the A tier. Gold Sand, I say a C tier. Not quite a D, because you can do the bare minimum with this. It's barely a C tier because there's not much to do with the bloodline itself, but it is a C tier. Wantanami, honestly a D. There's nothing really honestly good about this bloodline. It's pretty bad in my opinion. I hate to say that because Kisame was one of the cooler characters in the Naruto Shippuden show, so it's kind of hard to say that it's a D, but it is a D. Now Ice, right there in F. We all know this. Apollo Sand, aka Iron Sand, I want to say it's a B tier. Honestly, it is pretty good for fighting Tail Beast. The what is it? The second move, the Sand Tsunami, I think it's what it's called. It's pretty good for fighting Tail Beast. Does a ton of damage, honestly, against them. Yeah, I put that in B tier. The next bloodline we have is Eternal. I want to say that it is a B+ because it's better than these in my opinion, but it's not on the same level as these. I'm gonna put this ahead of everything right here at the first place of B. It's pretty, like, I don't know though, it could be an A depending on how you use it, but I'll put it at like a B++. Now Biakugan, regular Biakugan, it's not as good as Gold Biakugan, but it's not horrible like a C. I mean, like a C, like a D and an F. I could see it as like between B and C. The damage isn't the best, honestly, and the mode isn't like one of the best in the game either, like what you would expect from a 1/100. But I'll put that right there in the C tier. We have, I'm pretty sure it's called Kokotsu. That's how you say it. I don't see much use for it, so I'm gonna put that in the D tier. Kaijin, I'll put this in the B tier. The damage on it is pretty insane, especially the Q spec of the mode. The Q spec is honestly like one of the best in the game. It does so much damage. Okay. Oh yeah, and guys, back to Byakugan. I'm gonna move this up to the B tier just because it's not horrible. It is very much usable, but I just don't see much use for it. Okay. Now next we have Karata. Honestly, I want to put this in the C tier. I don't see much use for it, but it's not bad. Like, if you know what you're doing, it can be pretty good. Move that up right there. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'll move forward up to an S tier. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Now Kenichi, I would put this right here in the good old A tier. Nothing too bad about it to be said. The damage on it is pretty good. It's awesome for combos. Like man, it's so amazing for combos, honestly. Yeah, there's not anything bad to really be said about it. It looks pretty cool. Only bad thing you can say about this is the mode doesn't give you any ninjutsu, or what is it, ninjutsu or chi. But honestly, it's like Rock Lee. He didn't have any of that in the show, so they were just keeping it realistic with that one. Now next up we have the Doki. I'll put this right there in the D tier. I don't see much use for it, honestly. It's not that good. You can use it, but I wouldn't recommend having it. Next up we have Kanchu. I'm gonna throw this right there in the B tier. The chi draining factor about this is what makes it so good. The damage isn't really that good, but it does drain chi, which makes it one of the better bloodlines in the game. If you were to spin this, I would highly recommend keeping it just to try it for yourself. But let's get to the next one. We have Lava. This is pretty dirt. I cannot lie. It is pretty horrible. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Minakami, aka Puppets Kankuro. I hate to say that, but it's an F. Hopefully we get Satori, because these puppets from Kankuro's bloodline, aka Minakami, there's nothing really good about it, honestly. The damage isn't the best. The puppets don't do much, honestly. So hopefully we can get a Kankuro, not Kankuro, but a Satori bloodline. because the puppets were pretty cool in the anime. I cannot lie, puppets were pretty cool. But Mud is an F. Nature, I'll put that in D. The reason it's not a complete F tier is because the second move is pretty good for comboing. I can't lie, the second move is good for comboing, so it's not a complete F, but it's not good enough to be in a C. So yeah, I'm put the right in the D. Whoa, pause, whoa. Next up we have Nectar. Honestly, it's a pretty good bloodline, but it's not as good as some of these things up here, but it is better than, you can say it's better than some of these things down here below it in the C tier, and of course the D and F tier. Now Okami, I'll put that in the C tier. It's a pretty average bloodline. If you want to, like, if you know how to use it, I would recommend using it if you want to, but other than that, I wouldn't say there's too much upside to having it. Now Paper, I'll put this right beside it in the C tier. Like I said with this one, there isn't too much to be said about it. It's not the best, but it is definitely better than the D and the F tier. So if you want to use it, by any means, you can use it if you want, but there's not too much things to be said. It's not as good as some of these things in here, but I would definitely put that in the C tier. Now Atomic, throwing this right there in the D tier. Nothing about it is that good other than the beam, which isn't really that good itself, so nothing really too much to be said about it. Next up we have Sasuke Sharingan. I'll put this right in the A tier, okay? It isn't as bad as some of the things in the B tier. I don't want to say bad, but it's better than the things in the B tier, of course. But I'm not sold on it being a complete S tier, so I'm gonna put this right in the A tier, okay? Now next we have Rengoku. Honestly, I would throw this right there in the S tier, honestly. Only knock on it I can say is the C1 through C4 mode isn't the best, but the C5 Nakara pass, it is honestly one of the best mode attacks in the game. Like that mode ability, once they're stuck, you can combo that with stuff, bro, and they are gonna be dead in like 5 seconds. So if you have Rengoku, make sure you are using this to the full advantage. The Rinnegan in this game is so it's so godly, man. I swear, it's so godly. Next up we have Riser Akuma. This is a very interesting one because it's one of the more recent bloodlines, so I want to say it's an A tier. It's like Bangkai. Honestly, I'm put this in the like an A plus. Okay, I'll throw it in the S tier just because of how good it is. It's like the same, like it's similar to Bangkai. Like it's literally like a remodel of Bangkai, but it's like, I don't know, I have to use it more because it isn't like, it's been out for like a month, but I haven't really like used it as much as I could have. But honestly, it is not bad by any means. The damage is pretty good, so yeah, I would highly recommend using that if you get it. Next up we have Raikon Shizun, aka Redwood, aka Buffed Senju. Now I'm gonna throw this right here in the S tier. The damage on it is so good. If you stack it with other things like stun moves, it is gonna be super OP. If you stack damage on top of this, or like a Reaper Spirit, or like the other spirit, I forgot what it's called, the Scarecrow seal, it's gonna be super OP when using it. So I would highly recommend using that. Next we have Kakashi's Bloodline Hitachi, aka Saberu. I want to say that it's a B tier because it's better than things in the C tier, but it isn't as good as the things in the A tier in my opinion, of course. So I want to say it's like a B tier, okay? Sand is pretty bad, right there in the D tier. The only usable move is Sand Tsunami, which is the second attack. The mode doesn't give you good, it doesn't give you a good boost compared to the other modes. The third move literally just makes you fly. You do no damage at all. That should be a mode ability instead of having it as a third attack on a Genkai. I could see if the flying sand was a first attack or maybe even a second, but third, that is highly unacceptable. So I would definitely put this right there in the good old D tier, okay? Next we have Satori, aka Shisui, man. This was a tough one because the Great Fire is super good. I would throw this right there in the A tier. I wouldn't say it's as good as these, but it can be super good when used, guys. Like I don't want to say super good as much as I have, but it is a pretty good bloodline nonetheless. It's better than all of these in the B tier. but I'm just not sold on it being better than some of the things, or just as good as some of the things in here. You can argue that it's as good as Forged, maybe Redwood. So I would say an A plus. It's around these two. I'm gonna throw this right there in the A tier though. Scorch is bad. Sengoku, arguably the best bloodline in the game. Putting this first for a reason. It's one of the best bloodline in the game. The damage is good. It's great for combos, but it is super rare, which is of course gonna happen when you have a bloodline this good. So I mean, I would throw this right here in the S tier. Of course, it's pretty godly. Honestly, one of the best, if not the best, Genkai in the game. Now we have the regular Senko, aka Minato. Putting this in the C tier. Definitely better than the D and the F tier, but I'm not sure if it's as good as the things in the B tier. Now I haven't played around with this as much, so it might be a B tier. I know for sure it's not A or S, but it could be a B tier. But for now, I'm gonna put this in the C tier. Okay, guys. Next up, we have Nara, aka Shadow. Putting this in the C tier as well, because by itself, it's not one of the best. Of course, it's still a C tier. By itself, it's not. I mean, it's better than some of these things, but you have to have other good bloodline or abilities to use with it, because you really can only stun. There's like no damage at all. So I would put that in the C tier. It's pretty good for combos. You like, if this was a combo ranking, honestly it would be like a B, maybe in a B plus, but by itself I'll put this right in the C tier. Now the regular Senju, aka Shizen, I would put in the B tier. It is pretty good. If you got this, I would recommend keeping it. Only thing I would say is it's not as good as anything in the A tier, and it's not as good as its counterpart, Raikon Shizen, aka Redwood. So I would put that in the B tier because it is not as good as that, but it is still pretty usable if you were to get it. So guys, I'll put that right there in the B tier. Next we have Sound. Okay, I will put this in the B tier as well. It's a pretty usable Genkai. It's not bad. It's definitely not horrible at all. The attacks are kind of weird looking at them, but the damage is pretty good. So I would put that right there in the B tier. Okay, Steam, horrible. We have Storm next. I would put this in a C tier, maybe a C minus, because it isn't really like much things you can do with it, but it's not completely dog water. So I wouldn't say that it's a D, but I'll put that right there in the C tier. Next we have Tengoku. I'll put that right there in the A, like middle of the pack. I wouldn't say that it's an S tier because it's not as good as most of the things here. The damage is good, but it's not really good for combos in my opinion, so I would put that there. But the attacks are pretty good, so that is a plus on that. Honestly, you can say it's better than most of the things here, just not as good as S. So you could put it in S, but like in maybe like an S minus or like an A plus plus. So yeah, I'll put that right there, guys. And the final bloodline, aka KK Genkai, is Glacier. Now we all know where this one going. It's going in the S tier, guys, because I'm just kidding, guys. We all know this in F tier just because it's ice or Glacier. Haku bloodline, it should be buffed, bro. It should be at least a good C tier, because Haku was one of the, like, I'm not gonna say one of the best characters, but Haku and Zabuza were the first like main villains. Not main villain, but like one of the first villains, aka good fights we got to see in Naruto. So I would like, it should be like a B or C just out of respect for the characters, but honestly it's in the F tier. It's not usable at all. It is horrible. I mean, it is not good by any means. Like, no one ever uses this just because of how bad it is, to be real. Now, is there anything that I would change? Let me look at all this really quickly. I don't really think there's much to change. Maybe you can argue Eternal should be an A. Other than that, I don't really see much to be said about these. I want to say that Sand is an F low key. It needs a remodel because Gar was a dog in the anime. So honestly, I'll put that in the D just because I don't know, bro. It shouldn't, like, it's horrible. Honestly, I would not recommend keeping that if you got it. But other than that, I'm gonna leave everything as it is. Guys, let me know how you guys are feeling about this in the comments. Let me know how accurate this was. Honestly, I think this is the best list that I have seen so far. In my opinion, this is the best Genkai list. But let me know your feedback in the comment, guys. Like I said, let's get to 50 likes on this video. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, night, whatever time of day it is for you. Make sure you hit that sub button and turn on my post notifications. Join my Discord server. The link is in the description. We're super close to 250 members, chat. There's so much you can do there. So make sure you are joining my Discord server. With that being said, it's your boy Roshi's. I'm out. Peace.